Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing News.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Frauds of Boxing Part 2. And these are boxers that, come out and portray that they want all the smoke, that they want to fight the best, that they want to be the best, but their actions do not match their words. So let's start with Gary Russell Jr. and Leo Santa Cruz. Now, Gary Russell Jr. stops Kiko Martinez, calls out Leo Santa Cruz, and Leo Santa Cruz basically blatantly ignores that challenge. But what's odd about the whole thing is you would think it would be easy to make that fight when, they're both on the same side of the street. Both of these guys are with the PBC. So if we're being honest and unbiased, all the people that are saying, oh, it's Terrence Crawford should have joined the PBC to fight Errol Spence. But Leo Santa Cruz and Gary Russell are on the same side of the street. Why can't they get this fight made? And then you see Frank Warren come out and offer Leo Santa Cruz a huge offer to fight, Josh Warrington in the UK. And, this is his direct statement. He said Santa Cruz doesn't want to come here. We made him a quite big offer to bring him over here, and they made us a pretty crappy offer for us to go over there. It was ridiculous. So, look, I'm going to be honest and unbiased. Leo Santa Cruz doesn't seem to want the smoke from a Gary Russell Jr., doesn't want the smoke from a Josh Warrington. So what is he doing? Then Gary Russell Jr. takes it to the next level, threatens Leo Santa Cruz, says he can touch his father. Now, if that's not personal, I don't know what is. In response to this, Leo Santa Cruz turns around and says, I fight whoever they tell me to fight. If that is not the biggest fraudulent statement I've ever heard in boxing, I don't know what is. This guy tries to hide behind the promoter, but he forgets that Al Heyman is an advisor. Al Heyman is an advisor, and he's taking the worst advice if he's just fighting blindly who they want him to fight. Ultimately, it's him that's a duck, because you're responsible for your actions, you're responsible for your decisions, and he has to be held accountable. He is a fraud of boxing. He's not a true champion that goes around acting like this. So who does Leo Santa Cruz end up fighting? Does he fight Gary Russell? Does he fight Josh Warrington? Absolutely not. Leo Santa Cruz is looking to fight a Miguel Flores for a vacant 130 title. Let's be honest and unbiased. With both of these guys being on the same side of the street, there's no reason why this fight shouldn't have happened. And the fact that Gary Russell made it personal and Leo Santa Cruz dismissed the fight still shows that he's an absolute fraud. But let's keep it going. The next fraud on our list is Errol Spence Jr. And Errol Spence Jr., him and Terrence Crawford, the people were calling for the fight. People were wanting this fight. And Errol Spence Jr. basically prioritizes Sean Porter and Keith Thurman over Terrence Crawford. Now, fanboys try to say, well, those at the time that he was prioritizing, those were unification fights. Of course, a fanboy would prioritize that because Terrence Crawford was not only a unification fight, he was the biggest fight in the welterweight division. He was the fight that could secure Errol Spence's legacy. He was the fight that could make Errol Spence Jr. a pound-for-pound fighter, and he was the biggest money payday Errol Spence Jr. could get. But people tend to ignore that and forget that. And then Terrence Crawford confronted Errol Spence Jr. More of the same. Errol Spence was only looking for the easy road. Errol Spence not looking for real smoke from Terrence Crawford, and blaming promoters as an issue of getting in the way. And we've seen this same story from Leo Santa Cruz, and we know that promoters don't make a difference, because if they did, then why is Tyson Fury fighting Deontay Wilder? Why, and why does Gary Russell Jr. and Leo Santa Cruz not happen? It's not a promoter issue. It's a fraud issue. And then you see Errol Spence Jr. calls out Terrence Crawford's resume. And the funny thing about him calling out Terrence Crawford's resume is he doesn't keep that same energy when he fought Mikey Garcia. And he didn't worry about who was on Mikey's resume. He didn't worry about any of that. He didn't worry if Mikey had a belt. He didn't worry about any of that. That's why Errol Spence Jr. is a grade A fraud. And then you see Terrence Crawford once again trying to get smoke with anybody in the welterweight division. Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, all calling for unification fights, and he was blatantly ignored time and time again. Out of desperation, Terrence Crawford steps up and tells Errol Spence, take the panties off and sign the contract. We are waiting to hear back from Errol Spence Jr., the second fraud on our list. But let's keep it going. Billy Joe Saunders is the next fraud. The interesting thing about Billy Joe Saunders is he claims that he can beat all these guys and that he continuously calls out Canelo Alvarez. But let's see what he's doing. Billy Joe Saunders is a fraud because not only did he fail a drug test ahead of his title defense against Demetrius Andre, he said it was an accidental, misunderstanding, not a big deal. Okay, believable enough. Then Billy Joe Saunders was, given an opportunity to fight Demetrius Andre, ordered by the WBO, an immediate fight, to basically get his belt back. And then, Billy Joe Saunders passed it up. And his lamest excuse was it was about money. He just wasn't offered enough money. But at the end of the day, if you're a champion at 160 where Canelo Alvarez fights at, and that's the fight you want, you've already agreed to terms on one Demetrius Andre fight, and your stock is in an all-time low from failing a drug test, why would you not take the opportunity to get your belt back? It makes zero sense. And then Billy Joe Saunders would have a case, but unfortunately he went on to fight a Sufi for a vacant WBO title at 168, and we know that money was nowhere near what Demetrius Andre was offering. And Billy Joe Saunders was offered yet again a Demetrius Andre fight, and that fight was turned down on November 9th. Let's be honest and unbiased. Billy Joe Saunders simply doesn't want to smoke with Demetrius Andre. He's a clear and utter duck. Both of these guys are on the same side of the street. Both of these guys are on Matchroom Boxing, on the Zone. And at the end of the day, we know what Billy Joe Saunders is doing. This guy is waiting for his opportunity and payday to face a Canelo Alvarez. That's why he keeps calling out Canelo Alvarez. That's why he keeps begging for the fight. Ultimately, he doesn't want smoke with anyone else, and that's why he's a fraud. Once again, Unbiased, it's always just the IBFP. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.